My name's George Robertson, ex-captain of the Carter Society. Well, throughout the years you generally work for the committee to start with, and once you do several years in the committee, then you can get opt for the captaincy, and then it's a case of getting voted in. I followed Jack Allen, who was a gentleman, Jack. I followed him, and he kept me right all the time. As you do, the next man coming on, you keep right. And Jack kept me right for the 4 years I was on. What used to happen years ago was that the boats that come in, the puffers come in and run aground in the sand. They come in high tide, loaded. And the puffers carried, I reckon it was about 100 tonne they carried. And the carts went down, horse and cart went down and emptied it on the beach. And took the goods, whatever it may be, timber or whatever it may be, off the beach. There was ships come in, weigh timber into the harbour, but the puffers went to land on the beach. And when they're empty, tide come in again, they float it back out.
The Seagate, is that right?
Supposedly it went right up to, not in my time right enough, but there you go, aye. Yes, the water right up to Seagate, that's why it was called Seagate Castle. Well, through the years the water receded, but I think with this rain I think we'll get it back.
I think so.
My father hauled us sand off the shore, and it was all hand shovelled into the tipping cart and up onto the railway lie, and it's in 16 loads of the cart to fill a wagon with sand. I did it myself for a wee while, but Sarah Grass.
You're all work, isn't it?
Youngins don't do that anymore, do they? There was an awful lot of ships come in there, and they offloaded with timber, and there was tar boats come in, and all sorts, coal boats come. They loaded it coal in there as well. The two big crans there lifted the wagons and tipped them into the boats. Oh, it was just a hive of industry down there at one time. You can just see it, the boat. I'm saying the boat work. We called it a boat work. I worked in there with a horse and cart in the boat work, and to this day you'll see bits of the line coming out for the road to this day. But then down there was the ROF, and the chemical factory was, my memory gets me right, I think Walker's was the chemical factory down there. Now, they were the big factories, and they'd in the full length of the beach down there. See where Heisters was, well that was where ROF was, and in the rocker glass.
Right.
Aye,
So that sand that you did?
I did sand off the shore, and I done the working rocker glass, lifting up whatever glass or whatever maybe tipped in the tip, and that's what I worked in there. No. No. It's only these people that has horses that daft, like myself. No, you don't need to have a horse to join a carter. But all you need young blood into it to keep it going. This needs to be kept going. It's been going away for the 12th century, so let's keep it going and get the youngins into it, get them interested. We try to do things to interest the young ones. I would reckon it would at some stage. I would reckon so, because this was a huge bit at one time. I would say the houses there now. That was the main building, and again I have a photograph of the hunt guard outside that when it was the actual Egerton. And I have a photograph of that with a hunt guard out there. This was all, these things that happened then, which don't happen now.
No.
There were a lot of businessmen in the town supported Marymass throughout the years. Quite a few of them went as captains and things like that. And so it was quite good that the businessmen tend to do it then, see. So we've had some good laughs as well. You know. I remember ex-captain Baldy McAllister, we were stopped to pick him up at his shop. And old Jimmy O'Flight, that's how we got him, old Jimmy O'Flight. Him and his Alec was a big man, and Alec was leading the horse for the captain, and of course Alec caught his leg and went him and threw him right out the other side of the horse. See? And Baldy got up and he says, "I'll just go in the shop and got a set of steps." So he came out and got a set of steps to go to the horse. He was a big man, But that was comical. Because we all get a laugh at that, you can appreciate the captain getting through all the other side of the horse. It's happened before, you know.
Last year. You missed it.
Yes, what happened then, the younger people get into it. Then, I'm saying businessmen and that, and they kind of boosted it. And it helped, that brought it on a lot. They tried to get more dressed horses in and dressed ponies, and it was fine for a long time. They were coming in, it kind of depreciated it a bit. So then we decided we would maybe get more carts into it, hence getting this sort of stuff. And that kind of, there were certainly more Clydesdales in it then, which would have been back then. But it would all be working horses, because I remember all my Uncle Francis' horses, they were in, and all the farmers' horses was on that parade way back then. I remember one year in particular, I'd maybe about 17 or 18 year old, and my father taking no wheel, and I rode the horse. My father carried the captain's flag, the Carter's flag, and there were 13 dressed Clydesdales then, 13 dressed Clydesdales. And numerous ponies dressed, which you get 3 now maybe, if you're lucky. 3 heavies and very few ponies. And it's a shame because, not just for the money, there's not a lot of money in it. It's getting that ticket was the thing. And we could do with more young'uns bringing their ponies into it and building it up. I'd love to see more ponies getting in, I'd love to see it. Because there is a lot of Clydesdales come. They come from all over. We bring them from Ireland and everything over to this. We get some from Camelton, some from Fife. We get of Ireland, Rossi. No, bring them on. They boys was all great people. I will come help you suit, and I appreciate the boys coming. I really do appreciate them. I could maybe go back a bit. I was a boy right enough. My father rode, and my father rode a horse called Epicure, and that belonged to Hugh King. He was a King's son. That the boys that knew their great grandfather, and my father worked for them, and he rode their horse. It was Blythe when it worked. The horse worked. It wasn't a Clydesdale. It was a half-bred, a jip, and it wasn't. As I say, it wasn't a Clydesdale, but it ran the merchants' race. And my father won it more years than I can remember. And he was told to pull it up. This year he was to pull it up and let somebody else win this. And my father tried to pull it up, but there was no chance. That's went like a steam train or something. And that was Epicure. And that was Hughie King's, because Hughie King then was a sand, lime and potato merchant in the town. Of course, it's just the boys are just the sand now, right enough. But that was, and they were doing the harbour, their stables was in the harbour. They had quite a few horses at one time down there. So Robert King, he had a few horses as well. The railway had a lot of horses. And there was a lot of work horses in the town. At Fullerton Street there was Bob Cowser, the saddler, had a house in Fullerton Street in the stable at the back, and it was actually an ice cream float, two-wheel ice cream float, and it belonged to I can't remember his name. He was in Montgomery Street, and he sold his ice cream with that. He went round with ice cream float with that big white thing. And I think Bertie Baines, I think he used one tea at one time. Remember the fish? He used one tea. So there was Jimmy Paxton. He done fruit and veg. My cousin Jimmy Robertson, he done that tea with a horse and cart to start with. And there was quite a few done worked with a horse and cart. There was an old boy, old Donald Taylor, done rides around at Camel's Park in Fullerton Street. Now that's, see where big high flats is? Yeah. Well, that's Camel's Park, that's where Camel's Park was. And he did rides in there, and he used to shout, "Round the moon for half a crown." That was good. So they cooperated for a lot of horses too. Oh, aye. They're a lot of horses. They done the coal, done the bread in the morning, and then the malt in the morning, and done the bread in the afternoon. Well, my Uncle Francie had to go through the fields to get to his farm. He was Mulgar Home. That was my Uncle Francie, was in there. So.
Is this before they built the houses here?
Aye. Quite a time before they built the houses, yeah. Aye. They used to rig over the railway. Well, it's the road now, there was a bridge over the railway, and that was into the farm. So. And as I say, his horses went to Marymass every year. Well, this happened, doesn't it? It does happen. I personally try to keep to tradition. I do. So does most of the rest of them. But I like to. I keep all my stuff with Scottish stuff. A lot of boys are buying stuff in for Canada, and good. There's best of stuff. You know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, right? But mine's just plain Scottish stuff, but I like to keep it that way. And I'll always be that. As long as I can do it, I'll always be like that. So I don't use the Canadian stuff at all. But it's good enough stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But you would find the Scottish stuff's a bit dreary to what the Canadian stuff is. There's a bit flash about it, you know, brightens the thing up. Does certainly, but it does. But I'm stick to my old. I'm an old codger. I'll stick to it. Well, to put in the picture, for the cross down to the harbour there were 13 pubs, and you stopped at every one. You got a dram at every one, and then when you come back up to the crowning, you're coming back through the cross and you get stopped at the King's in Eggleton. You got a drink there. One at the Turf, one at the Grange. So by the time you go to the Moor, you could be in a fair position. The Kirtle's got that name for a long time, but that's all gone now. There's none of that now. There's none of that. I'm not saying they don't like a tram back for a bit.
No, it is a celebration.
Aye, that's right. We will still say Mary Queen of Scots visited the castle. That's what we work by. The Carters went and fought with Bruce and Wallace. I would say that as far as Mary Queen of Scots is concerned, we were backing her all the way. As far as I still believe, that's what we backed. I still believe that she was there. Every month, the committee meet every month. We've got the choosing the captain, which we're going to miss this year, unfortunately. But there you go. So choosing the captain is one of the kind of main things in the year. We do a lot of other things for Bailey, for old folks, stuff like that. We do a lot of stuff for old folks. The likes of Danny and 2 or 3 areas, we come in here after the Kirkin, well, the week after the Kirkin, come in here on a Thursday night, nearly every Thursday night, and we repair these, strip them down, we build these, and we built these, we built 6 of these, and it's all for the community. We're still trying to do our bit right throughout the year. There's a lot of work there, and you're at it and you're getting new tyres on and sorting some of that, put doors on for safety here and there, which we have done, doors on for safety for the weighing skin. Aye, we work all year round. Yes, it is. This was just about last year there.
Yeah.
But we worked in here for ages, building these. So.
I think we're looking at one for next year, aren't we?
Oh, good.
So maybe the only thing is we're debating who's going to pull it.
Well, it's a push me, pull me. So you can put 2 at the front and 2 at the back. It's easy done, as long as you don't put too much weight in the car. It'll carry as much weight as you want to put on it. I mean, it's well built. A wee shot at welding them myself, so if I post it back on me. We come every Thursday, we come here, and then we go into Danny's for a cup of tea and roasted cheese. Yeah. I would like to see more people in Irvine taking a wee bit more interest in it. I would love to see that. Some of the older ones, it's just the same as it was, but it's not just the same as it was, because we've all this work today, so we'd love for more people to come and help, and the more the merrier. The more we can do, the better it's going to be, as far as I'm concerned. And I would love to see more of the youngins coming back, especially, again, see the youngins with ponies, get the ponies back in. There's not a lot of money in it, fair enough. They can always win 2 or 3 bob and a wee reset, and we're quite happy to. We've been putting the prize money up to try and encourage the youngins in, but I'd love to see more of the people taking part. I would love to see it. But, I'm getting to an age now, I'll have a bother getting a 1 horse.
You can come on that with us next year. He's on.
Well, I generally put 2 carts. Again, my cousin and I was at it. Hopefully it goes ahead. So the 2 carts are asked. The horses are still there. You've still got to look after them. So they're still there, ready to do the work. And all my friends that come, I ask these boys to come. No problem. They boys come. And it's good the boys from outside the town come in, and it was good. I remember there was a fella came from Ireland who comes to our parade now, but at that time he was going to Aberdeen show, and he met a fella called Hugh Ramsey, a good horseman, and he says to Hugh, I'm going to Aberdeen, and Hugh says to me, he says, I wouldn't go to Aberdeen today. He says, go to Irvine. He says, there are more horses at Irvine than at Aberdeen. And so he came to Irvine, and he was taken back with us. So he comes to Ireland with his horses. He couldn't come last year, with other things on. But he said, I'll be there next year, but there you go. As long as I'm here, I'll do my best to get them. This bit's all right, it's just this bit down here that didn't work.